Hello and welcome to episode number 12 of the Cheesesteaks and Controllers podcast on 102.5 FM Radio Philadelphia, Fox, PHL The Gambler, and iHeartRadio. My name is Jason Fanelli and I am the Esports and Gaming Insider for Fox, PHL The Gambler. And we have a pretty good week coming up for you right here. No interviews this week for the first time in 7 episodes. It'll just be me talking to you for the next hour. Got a couple of very good topics coming up this evening. First off, we're going to talk about the Overwatch League playoffs. We'll go through what that format looks like, the matches that have already been played, as this is recording on Thursday night. And for those of you listening on Saturday on the radio, the matches that might have already happened between now and then. We'll get into what it looks like for the Fusion specifically, how far I think they can feasibly go in these playoffs, and then we'll talk a little bit more about how long we'll be watching the Overwatch League playoffs. I also have a little bit of information about the Call of Duty League's finale, with Dallas Empire winning the whole thing, but not without some controversy right after they won, so we'll talk about that. Want to do a little bit of opining about the next generation of consoles and where the hell these prices are. We'll talk about that. And then we'll end with maybe a little bit of Mario 35th anniversary. That trailer dropping earlier today on Thursday, September 3rd, and just delighting everyone that watched it, including myself and my little girl when I showed it to her. She was really excited to play those Mario games, and I'm really excited to play them with her. But enough about that. Let's get things kicking off with the 6 in 60 seconds. Here we go. The Overwatch League playoffs have begun, with the Boston Uprising beating the Houston Outlaws and the Washington Justice sweeping the Vancouver Titans. The Philadelphia Fusion first place Saturday at 3 p.m. The Dallas Empire were crowned as the first ever Call of Duty League champions, with Crim 6 named as the championship MVP. Meanwhile, Wizards District Gaming won the NBA 2K League Championship with a 3-1 series victory over Warriors Gaming in the NBA 2K Finals. Elsewhere, the Super Mario 35th Anniversary Direct announced a slew of new Mario titles and merchandise, including Mario 3D All-Stars and 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. A Fall Guys costume contest for charity, taking donations online, ended with Ninja, Mr. Beast, AimLab, and G2 Esports donating $1 million to UK-based charity Special Effect. Congratulations to them. And finally, Microsoft has announced that its upcoming Xbox showcase at the Tokyo Game Show Online will not have any information about the Xbox Series X, much to the chagrin of their faithful fans. That is the 6 in a little over 60 seconds. Yes, that was your 6 in 60 seconds. Couple of big things going on this week. That Mario 35th anniversary. I don't know if you know this, but I'm pretty excited about it. We'll talk about that later in the show. But now, I would like to talk about the Overwatch League playoffs, which started earlier today in the North American region with 2 matches between the lowest seeds in the bracket. I want to go over a little bit of what is actually happening in these playoffs so you can understand what to look for when you're tuning in to youtube.com/Overwatch League to watch your Fusion and all the other matches this weekend and next weekend. So, before COVID started, or right when COVID started, they split the league up into 2 sections. There was 13 teams in the North American region because those teams were staying in North America. And then there were 7 teams in the Asia region because those teams are staying in Asia. This creates a little bit of dissonance. New York and London, for example, are in the Asia region, not the North America region. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. And the matches throughout the rest of the year, from like May on, were played in this format. Those Countdown Cup, the Countdown Cup, the Summer Showdown, and the May Melee tournaments, the in-season tournaments, were all played that way, 2 separate brackets for each region. Any regular season matches were left in those 2 capsules. The 7 in Asia only played the 7 in Asia. The 13 in the North America only played North America. And it got us to here today to playoffs. So what we have now is 2 separate brackets once again, 7 for Asia, 13 for North America. They will double elimination tournament eventually whittle themselves down to the final 4, 2 on each side. And then and that final 4 will meet in October in the grand finals. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. So today, today's matches and tomorrow's matches are single elimination tournaments. They are single elimination games, excuse me. They are basically just weeding out the lower seeds so we can get to the top 8 in the North American region. Like today's matches, Thursday's matches, for example, the 13 seed Boston Uprising actually defeated the 10th seed Houston Outlaws 3-1. And the 12th seed Washington Justice beat the Vancouver Titans in the 11th seed 3-0. So Washington and Boston, the 2 lower seeds, actually moved on in this tournament. That was 10, 11, and 12, and 13 seeds in those first 2 games. Now tomorrow there are 3 games in the North America region featuring seeds 6, 7, 8, 9, and the 2 winners from yesterday. 3 matches total. How did we get the matchups that we have? Now, normally it's lowest seed plays highest seed, but Overwatch League gives the teams a choice. It allows them to choose the team they want to play out of the remaining teams. So, in this example, in this instance, if you look at the bracket, there were 3 teams to choose from. The 13th seed Boston Uprising, the 12th seed Washington Justice, and the 9th seed Toronto Defiant, who was basically had a bye from that first round playoff. The 6th seed LA Gladiators chose Toronto, the 9th seed. A pretty confident choice, not going for the lowest seed, but I respect it. Atlanta, at number 7, chose the Boston Uprising, and then Dallas, that the 8th seed, was left with Washington. So you have 3 matches happening tomorrow. You have the 6 LA Gladiators versus the 9 Toronto Defiant. You have the 7 Atlanta Reign versus the 13 Boston Uprising. And then you have the 8 Dallas Fuel versus the 12 Washington Justice. You'll get 3 winners from those. Those 3 winners, plus the 5th seed in the North American region, who is the LA Valiant, Los Angeles Valiant, will then be chosen from by the top 4 seeds. So, for example, let's just go with highest seeds. LA beats Toronto. Atlanta beats Boston. Dallas beats Washington. So you have the Valiant, who were 5th seed and skipped that portion of the bracket, at 5. The LA Gladiators at 6. Atlanta Reign at 7. Dallas Fuel at 8. The Fusion, being the first overall seed, gets to choose from those 4 remaining teams. San Francisco Shock at number 2 gets the next choice. Paris Eternal get the next choice, and Florida Mayhem at number 4 get whoever's left. And then, from Saturday on, it's a standard double elimination tournament. No more confusing nonsense. No more picking and choosing in here. The brackets are locked in, and we are going. And we're going from then until the 13th of September, till we get to our final 2. 1 team from the winner's side, 1 team from the loser's side. After that, after we get our final 2, the Asia bracket will do the same. So the Asia bracket's first match is tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. for us Philadelphia folks. So by the time you're listening to this, it's probably already happened. And it's the Hunters, the Chengdu Hunters, versus the London Spitfire. The winner of that match will then go on to be with the Guangzhou Charge. Not the Guangzhou Charge. I'm sorry. Who is the 5th seed in the? I believe it is the Hangzhou Spark. Yes. No, not the Hangzhou Spark. It is the New York Excelsior. No. Who the heck? I'm very sorry. Technical difficulties. Please stand by. Seoul Dynasty. Sorry. Seoul. Duh. One of the teams I'm really worried about. So Seoul is number 5 on the Asia side. And they are waiting to see who wins between Chengdu and London. Once that match is decided, the New York Excelsior will choose between Seoul and the winner of Chengdu London. The Hangzhou Spark will get the other one. And then from there, after we have those two winners, Shanghai will choose first from those two winners. Guangzhou will choose the other one. And we finally have a standard double elimination bracket on that end. And then they will play until they get their top 2, one from the winner's side, one from the loser's side. And the 2 from the Asia bracket and the 2 from the North American bracket will come together on October the 8th in a 4-team double elimination tournament to decide the grand champion of Overwatch League, with the grand finals happening on October the 10th. So September 13th is the last day of matches in the main tournament. October 8th is the first set of matches in grand finals. October 10th is the last match of the season. That's a big pause. It's a big pause. And I know this is a lot to take in. It's a lot to talk about. But if you look at the brackets, if you take a look on the Overwatch League website and you follow along with what I'm saying, by Saturday, the brackets will be crystal clear. We'll know who's playing who chooses what, and you'll have set double elimination brackets from then on. It's just getting through these first couple matches to get the lower seeds out and the choices made so that we can start playing the actual league. Once that confusing stuff happens, it's really very easy to follow. Now, the question is, who's going to win? Who's going to win the Overwatch League in the year 2020, the year of COVID? And to be honest with you, after looking at this bracket and going through who I think is going to win, I see a clear path for your Philadelphia Fusion to make it to grand finals almost, I don't want to say easily, but without much effort. As strange as that sounds. The first round, no matter who's left, I think they walk through. I'm not worried about that at all. No matter who they choose for Saturday's matchup, I don't think they'll have an issue. I really don't. So they'll move on to the next round, which will either be Florida or the last remaining choice in that list. Again, I don't think they have an issue. Florida may be a bit of an issue just because I think Florida is the only team to beat them in the regular season. So there's always that factor there. But again, I think they get through that no issue. The winners' finals is the first time I start to worry. Because it's either going to be, in my estimation, the San Francisco Shock or the Paris Eternal. Both of these teams have given the Fusion fits all year. San Francisco beat them twice, once in the May Melee and once in the Countdown Cup Finals. Paris Eternal took them to the limit in what is still the best Overwatch League match I've ever watched, the finals of the Summer Showdown, and beat them 4-3. That winner's final, which will give whoever wins that match free entry into the Final Four. That's all the Fusion would have to do. That's the one that I think is going to be the biggest issue. However, even if they lose that, I don't think anyone remaining in the tournament in the lower bracket, in the loser's bracket, will give them an issue. And they'll be able to get into the final 2 for the North American side, either by going all the way through the winner's bracket or by getting to winner's final, losing, and then winning that next loser's bracket match to sneak in there. They're going to get into one of those two slots. I would prefer them to be in the number 1 slot, but I do think they get in there either way. As long as they don't lose early, the earliest I think they can lose and have a clear chance is winners finals. After that, if they lose before that, it's Wild West. I have no idea, and I'm afraid to even ask. But if they get to winners finals, I think it's smooth sailing to the Final Four. From then on, though, is when things get tricky. So the way the Final Four works is the team from the North American side that coming from the winners finals, the team that does not lose in the North American tournament, will play the team coming from the losers side of the Asia bracket. So it's the number. So say that the winners final is number 1 and the losers final is number 2. The number 1 from North America plays the number 2 from Asia and vice versa. And then the tournament progresses from there. Now, the double elimination does reset. So if the Fusion were to come in to the grand finals from the loser side, they don't then still only have 1 loss left. They does reset back to double elimination in these Final Four. So if they lose their first match in grand finals, they're technically still in, which is good. But this is where I start to worry about the Fusion. The grand finals is where I start to worry because you're looking at Shanghai, which is probably the number 1 team in the league over us, over the Fusion. Number 1 seed in the Asia region, number 1 team in the league, and a worst to first story that has something to prove. They scare me, as does Guangzhou. The Guangzhou Charge have a couple of players that are just insane, and I want nothing to do with them. But unfortunately, we're going to have to play one of them in these grand finals, I think. Should the New York Excelsior squeak in and we play them in the first round, we've beaten them before. I'm not worried about them. But I am worried about Shanghai, and I am worried about Guangzhou. If I'm sitting here right now, and I am predicting the champion of the Overwatch League in 2020, my heart says the Philadelphia Fusion, my head says the Shanghai Dragons. They're just too good. And you always have San Francisco to worry about. Paris is an interesting dark horse. Guangzhou, again, the Charge, very good team. But Shanghai is my pick to win the entire thing right now. But my heart also says that Philadelphia can do it too. It pains me to say that they're not going to do it, but there's just too much unknown from Shanghai and Guangzhou, teams that we have not seen yet this year, that gives. I don't have the confidence to outright say the Fusion are going to win the whole thing. I'm going to cheer my head off for them. I really am. I'm going to yell and scream and holler that entire weekend in October. As long as they're playing, I am in. But until I see how they play against Shanghai and Guangzhou, I just don't know if they're going to pull this off. I'm hoping they do. I really am. But I cannot in good conscience say full-mindedly Fusion in winning the championship. I can't bring myself to do it. And if there are Fusion fans out there that are going to call me a phony and throw tomatoes at me, that's fine. I can take it. I'm a big boy. But yeah, so that's where I stand on the Overwatch League playoffs. That's the preview right there. By the time you are listening to this on Saturday, if you are listening on the radio at 4 p.m. on 102.5 FM Philadelphia or 1480 AM Philadelphia, the Fusion will have either finished playing or are currently playing their first match. Hoping it's a win. Of course, we're hoping it's a win. I'm predicting it's a win. But if you're listening to this on the radio, the conversation will have been we're already in the non-confusing double elimination bracket. If you're listening to this on Friday, when it launches on iHeartRadio, then we still have a bit of housework to do before we get to that clear, clean bracket. YouTube.com/Overwatch League has all the matches, has them all one at a time. So no matter what you turn on, you're going to see one match. There's only one match to watch. That's very convenient. And I think no matter what happens, it's going to be a very entertaining, very fast-paced, very thrilling playoffs in a year where there could have been no games at all. I think this league is going to come back strong, finish strong. It's going to finish strong, and then come back next year better than ever. And we'll be watching them live from the Met or Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City. No ifs, ands, or buts. So there's my Overwatch League playoff preview. Hope you enjoy the playoffs. If you're not watching them yet, I hope you do soon. And if you've never watched Overwatch League before, I do suggest you check it out. It takes some time to really figure out what's going on. But once you're in, once you wrap your head around the action and who's in what role and what characters are on the field, I think there's a lot to like. And I think you will enjoy what you're watching. But while you're watching Overwatch League this weekend, there are 3 major titles coming out on Friday and a 4th coming out on Tuesday after the Labor Day weekend. Your cup runneth over with things to play. So, let's look at what's on tap. It's a big week for games this week with 4 massive entries into your gaming library, hitting shelves starting today, Friday, September 4th, or yesterday if you're listening on the radio. Marvel's Avengers from Crystal Dynamics, the studio behind Tomb Raider and Square Enix, bring the classic Marvel superheroes into a new arena. The game apparently plays like a Destiny, open-ended type of adventure where there is a campaign that you play through, but then after that, the world just opens up and there are missions to do and you can build your characters on the fly. I've played a little bit of it in the early access. I got through a little bit of the campaign. Kamala Khan is awesome, but that's all. I'll stick with that for now. Also, NBA 2K21 brings us back to the digital court on Friday the 4th. Damian Lillard on the cover of the current gen, and haven't heard much about that yet so far. Let's keep an eye on that. Finally, the fearsome threesome on September 4th, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. The remake of the classic Tony Hawk Pro Skater skating franchise is here, finally. Time to grab your skateboard and get back on the digital skate parks. Whatever, the skaters are there, the parks are there, the tricks are there, all as you'll remember it. That looks like a lot of fun. And then finally, another great remake coming on September 8th, Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning. Kingdoms of Amalur is a fascinating story of a game that came out in 2012. The studio that made it then went under. Kurt Schilling was involved. It's quite a story. But this game is getting a resurgence thanks to THQ Nordic, being re-released on Tuesday the 8th. A new chapter coming out in 2021, and then who knows? But Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning ought to be on your radar. Like I said, the cup runneth over with things to play this weekend. So what's on tap for you? There you have it. Again, lots to play this week. All of a sudden, we are really in the throes of the fall and holiday season for games. 4 big titles. 3 on Friday the 4th, 1 on September the 8th, and more coming. The next couple weeks are really, really big for video games between WWE 2K Battlegrounds, Super Mario 3D All-Stars, Spelunky 2 for the indie crowd at the end of September there. Lots of things to like, lots of things to really look into. And then in October, we're looking at Star Wars Squadrons, Crash Bandicoot 4, FIFA 21, Dirt 5 for the racing fan. It's nuts. It's a nuts time. It's going to be a good year for games. If we take January to December of 2020 the way it is right now, man, there is something to play for everyone, and we haven't even gotten to the brand new consoles yet, which, in a great segue, unplanned by yours truly, is our second segment for tonight. I want to talk a little bit about the next generation of consoles, specifically how strange it is that on September the 4th, or the 5th, or whenever it is that you're listening to this, Friday or Saturday, that we do not know the main information about these brand new consoles, particularly when we can purchase them and how much we will need to make that purchase. Now, obviously, it is common, or I'm sure that the first thing out of people's mouths is, this is pandemic related, it's not their fault, they're doing the best they can, and that's fine. I want to give everyone the benefit of the doubt in this unprecedented time. I don't want to come out and say that they are milking this. I don't want to come out and say that they're maybe they don't know. I don't know. I don't have the inside information to make that call. I don't know what's going on in-house at Sony or Microsoft. All I know is I sit here as a consumer in the first week of September trying to figure out my budget for the holiday season. I know that there are purchases of this magnitude coming, but I don't know how much I need to dedicate towards it, and that is frustrating and worrisome. I'm not alone on this. Twitter is rampant with people. Where are these prices? Why don't we know these prices? What's going on with these prices? How much is this console going to cost? PlayStation 5 has 2 models. What's the difference? What's the main difference in price going to be? Is there going to be any reason to go up to buy the digital version as opposed to the disc version, other than the fact that everything's digital? Will it be cheaper? Will it have more hard drive? And on Series X's case, is there even a second console to talk about? The Series S has been rumored for months now, and there hasn't been a whiff of that at all. So what are they doing is my main question. What is Xbox, what is PlayStation doing waiting so long to tell us when this is coming out? Xbox even had the gall to say November, but did not give us a set date or price. How am I supposed to have any confidence in your console if you're not confident enough in telling me how much you think it's worth and how much longer I have to wait? It's like this game of chicken that these companies are playing, where they both know that their prices are not going to be ideal, but they want the other one to announce it first so that they can go back and say, look, ours is high too, but here's why. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like they're playing chicken with one another, daring the other one to make the call and make the announcement and, get it over with. What's most frustrating about this is there have been ample opportunities for this information to be brought to our attention on both sides. Both companies have had multiple presentations. Sony had the big one in July or June, revealing the PlayStation 5. Xbox had theirs in July, showing off a bunch of their games, where Halo Infinite made its debut. PlayStation's had a State of Play, which is their Nintendo Direct style video with information of games coming out since then, that mentioned third-party PlayStation 5 updates. We got an update for Bugsnax, but we didn't get an update on the console itself or the price. I thought for sure we would know by September 1st. I was adamant that both of these companies would come out with it by September 1st and pre-orders would begin. The closest we've got to that is PlayStation letting people sign up online for a chance to be one of the first to pre-order. To sign up for a chance to give them money. That's it. Oh, I'm sorry, and Xbox also said that their keynote at the Tokyo Game Show online at the end of September will not feature any Series X news. I'm hoping that's because the news will have already happened, but I am not confident. I don't know what these guys are doing to make that it's making this so difficult. And then you have Nvidia, who comes out with their 3000 series, 3070, 3080, 3090 graphics cards, which are insane cards. And anyone who has a PC and was thinking about upgrading to consoles would see that, or upgrading to also getting consoles, would see that and immediately be turned off. So it's wasted opportunity there. What are they doing? And why are they doing this? If there's a reason that they're waiting so long, if they have some sort of reason as to why they're making us gamers wait to find out, then just tell us. Stop with this coy nonsense. Stop with this silence. Stop with all of it. Just tell us what we want to know. Tell us how much we're going to be spending on these consoles. Tell us when we can get them, more than just the month. Sony hasn't even given us that. And it's that lack of information which leads me to believe that both of these consoles will not make 2020. I have this itching feeling in the back of my head that these consoles will be pushed to March of 2021, somewhere in the March-April range of 2021, and start their end the fiscal year, which runs from April to April, on a huge note, or begin fiscal year 2021 on a huge note. The idea of a November release, even with Xbox saying so, just seems so out of reach for me now, because they've waited so long to bring us what we want to know. There are a couple of opportunities to announce this information in September. PAX Online in the middle of September usually takes place in Seattle. Microsoft has a strong showing there. Maybe they'll choose then to bring out the information. Tokyo Game Show, as I mentioned, Xbox already said they're not doing anything. PlayStation won't even be there, but they tend to run a adjacent event around Tokyo Game Show, and there's already rumored a PlayStation show of some kind in September. So maybe that's when we'll get it, in September. September 1st, I said I would be shocked if we didn't have the prices by then, by September 1st. If we don't have the prices by October 1st, I will be very, very worried. A, about the consoles releasing on time, and B, just how much they're going to cost. Because if they're not going to tell us until the last possible second, that tells me that they're still trying to bring the price down. And they haven't figured out how to do that yet. I don't know what it is. I don't know why they're waiting so long. I don't know what they're trying to do to make this more enticing. But I just wish that they would stop all of this nonsense and give us the information that we desire. Open up pre-orders. Let us try and get our reserves in so we can have these consoles on day one. The crazy gamer folk like me who need to have everything day one, I'll be there. I'll be knocking on the door. Where's my console? I have an idea of what games I'm going to get right from the jump, but I don't know for sure. Bugsnax is one of them on PlayStation 5. You can bet on that. And it's just very frustrating. It's very frustrating to be in this situation where you know you have a massive purchase coming on the horizon. Like, it's out there. You can see it. But you can't devote any real time or money to it because the company hasn't told you exactly what is expected of you. And I find that to be very frustrating. Xbox in particular is under a major disadvantage now that Halo has been pushed to 2021 and isn't coming out with the console anymore. They now have no flagship game launching with the box. It's just the box and Xbox Game Pass. Now, Xbox Game Pass is a fantastic value for what it gives you. $14.99 a month gives you hundreds of free games plus the Xbox Live experience. It's an amazing offer, but I don't see how they're going to entice people to buy these consoles on that alone. They need some sort of major moving software to get people, exclusive software no less, to get people to want to choose that console over PlayStation 5 if they have to make a choice. PlayStation 5 has a couple of things that we've heard about already that may be that are exclusive and may be launching with the system. Spider-Man, Miles Morales is one of them. Ratchet & Clank doesn't have a set date yet. If that's a launch title, the way it's looking right now, it is gangbusters. There are a few other... Horizon Zero Dawn is 2021. That's not a launch title, but if it's launch window, say it comes out in June of 2021, that's a big deal if it comes out in time for E3. I just feel like that there's something they're not telling us here. There's something in the water. There's something amiss that isn't being told to us right now about these consoles. And for whatever reason, they just don't want to risk the information. Again, It leads me to believe that we will be purchasing these consoles in 2021, not in 2020, as has been promised. But there's nothing wrong with that. And this is the worst thing of all. I think they're afraid of gamer social media, which is very unkind to news that they don't want to hear, or news that they want and hasn't happened yet. Take, for example, Nintendo. Before today, if you were to look at any post they did, any post at all, the first couple comments on Facebook or Twitter would be, when's the next Nintendo Direct? When's the next Nintendo Direct? When are you going to give me more Nintendo Direct? Blah, blah, blah. Another good example of this is Ed Boon, who is the lead, who is the head of the studio that makes Mortal Kombat. There is a character who is not in Mortal Kombat 11 that a lot of very vocal fans want to see added through downloadable content. And if any post he makes, it could be about anything, the first 10 replies are, put this character in, where's this character, when's the next combat pack, blah, blah, blah. Just based on how gaming Twitter can be, I understand Xbox and PlayStation's hesitance to come out with something that could be bad news. I do. Gaming Twitter in particular is very quick to roast, to drag into the mud, even when all the information's there and some of the information they're looking for is not readily available. They will roast until they read. It's just how they are. But you can't let that fear now keep you from making the announcements that the non-vocal majority, the people who aren't tweeting 24 hours a day and just want to know when the heck they can buy your console, when they can find out, when they can learn that information. For every one person that tweets PS5 when, there are 10 people asking the question that don't tweet it because they respect the social media manager of PlayStation. Same with Series X. Series X price when, every one person that asks that, there's 10 people wondering the same thing, but they don't want to blast anybody's Twitter on it. It's time for the secrecy to go away. It's time for the veil to be lifted. And it's time for these two consoles to get the information out to the public that is so sorely needed. I need to know how much I'm devoting to these consoles come November, if it even makes that. And I would appreciate it if they would just take the time to tell me what I want to know. And with that, let's move on to the final segment of the day, the speed run. Yes, first up on the speed run tonight, I want to talk about a little bit of happenings in the Call of Duty League over the last week. First, we had our first ever Call of Duty League champion in the new format in the form of the Dallas Empire, who beat the Atlanta FaZe to get into the championship match and then beat the Atlanta FaZe again in the championship match pretty dominantly. Ended up being 5 maps to 2 in that final. They really didn't look all that tough, the FaZe did. The Empire came out strong in the first match and then just played their game in every map they played the FaZe in. You had a couple of instances where the FaZe snuck one out, but most of all, the Empire were just dominant, just absolutely on top of their game, and beat the living crap out of the FaZe twice to win the first ever championship. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to Envy Gaming out of Dallas, obviously, for the who owns the team that won. Good stuff all around there. I'm very happy for them. They are a good team to represent the league for the first time ever. Shotzi, the MVP, is on that team. Crim6, one of the most storied Call of Duty League players of all time, is on that team. And a couple other really good players there. Clayster is another. But that win was completely overshadowed just one day later by the news that the Call of Duty League, A, will not expand in the 2021 season, and B, will switch out of the 5v5 format first introduced in this league and go back to the previous league's format of 4v4. Now, both of those things taken separately, not that bad. The fact that they're coming together is an issue. So first, you're not expanding. You're not adding more teams to the league, but you're taking away 12 spots. One spot from each team going 4v4. Why you wouldn't do these two things together makes no sense to me, because you have, say you're expanding 4 teams, that's 16 slots that need to be filled. You have 12 players losing spots immediately. You would have 3 of your 4 teams filled already. They would just have to scout if they would either be filled, or if they did, each team gets 3 players, each team would only have to scout for 1 more starter. It makes no sense to me that they would drop these spots in the second year and not have expansion teams to fill them with. Now, like I said, separately, going back to 4v4 versus 5v5, fine. That's how it was before. It was 4v4 forever, and they switched to 5v5 this year. They're going back. Fine. That's what they want to do. Power to them. That makes sense. Not expanding in a bubble also makes sense. This year was not the year they planned on because of COVID. They played all their games online. They did everything they had to do in a completely different format than what they wanted. So in 2021, if it's safe, they're going to go back to the city-based format. They're going to have live shows again. They're going to do the league the way they want to do the league. And then in 2022, they'll think about expanding. That makes sense. But both of those things coming together makes no sense. If you're going to drop players, 12 players from each team, because you want to go back to the way it was, then expand by four teams to give those players somewhere to go. If you're not going to expand, then leave the league the way it is. Don't touch it. Why making either of these changes like this it just makes zero sense to me. And I hope that this is just a rumor. I hope it's because it came from a report from ESPN.com that says league sources told ESPN that Call of Duty League will not expand before the 2021 season following the end of its inaugural year, which just ended, which pivoted away from initial business plans because of the coronavirus pandemic. Not expanding for the second season is not due to lack of interest from potential new franchise partners, according to the sources, after the league had a relatively solid year, excluding the online stuff and last-minute patches and what have you. Rather, both the league and team owners would rather show the original business plans, particularly the popularity of offline events in the city-based league, before looking to recruit franchise buyers for a higher sum. Fine, then give them the original plan. Don't make any changes to the format. Don't make any changes to anything. And go back to where you basically press reset and start 2021 the way you wanted it to be to begin with. Don't change the 5v5. Don't change the number of teams. Don't change anything. If you want to give those potential investors, the exact pitch that you wanted to give them at the beginning of this year, then play 2021 exactly how 2020 was, and then vote after that. That would be my suggestion. You're putting 12 players out who have no idea what they're going to do because there's no other Call of Duty leagues to go to right now. Whether they retire from Call of Duty entirely or they just pick up different games, I don't know. But it just seems like you're putting a lot of people out for no reason other than just to go back to the way it was, when in the same token you're saying that you're not expanding because you want to present the original package as you intended. Then present the original package as you intended. Do the 5v5 and leave it alone. But that's just me. I'm hoping that these are just rumors and Call of Duty League comes to their senses. Maybe I can get somebody on the show to talk about it in the near future. That would be nice. But in the meantime, let's go to the second part of the speed run tonight, and that is Super Mario's 35th anniversary. What a nice surprise on a Thursday morning at 9 a.m. to have this 16-minute video dropped right on our laps that we've been waiting for forever, has been heavily rumored since March, and now we finally have it confirmed to us right here that a massive Super Mario 35th anniversary celebration is being planned by Nintendo, with multiple games between now and I think March 31st, with products and clothing and all kinds of stuff. So let's run through some of the things that were announced in this video presentation. First and foremost, the very first thing that you see is a return to the Game & Watch, the original handheld that Nintendo put out way back when, the little black and white, everything, black and white guy, Mr. Game & Watch for the Smash Brothers fans. This particular one has Super Mario Bros. 1 and Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels in full LCD display, but it also has a couple of references to the Game & Watch, and it works as a clock, just as the old one did. Really neat little device, just a little collector's item to commemorate the 35th. Nice for the super fans, for the people who have been playing Mario for their entire lives. I can feel you looking at me through whatever listening device you're using. I'm undecided, thank you very much, on that particular item. The next announcement was a port of Super Mario 3D World from the Wii U to the Switch, with a new chapter's worth of content called Bowser's Fury. Not much was shown on the new content, but what was shown of the old game looks just like the classic Wii U game. One of the best games on that troubled system for sure. Definitely one that I'll be keeping an eye on in February of 2021 when that launches. Next, we had a little interesting game that takes the idea of Battle Royale games like Fortnite and brings them into the Super Mario realm with Super Mario Bros. 35. So 35 players will be playing the same stage of Super Mario at the same time. Every enemy that's killed, or that's killed by you, will go to a different game, and likewise, other enemies from other games will come to you. And the first one to finish, or the last one standing, wins. It's a very interesting concept, not unlike the Tetris 99 that is still out now, where 99 players are playing Tetris, last one standing wins. And I'm interested to see what's going on when that comes out October 1st. What I don't like about this particular announcement is the fact that it said that it's only going to be playable until March 31st of 2021. So it's available on October 1st, it's only playable until March 31st, and then it's gone. It's not one of those things where if you download it, you have it. It's just gone. Gone. Like March 31st, you just forget it existed. Why? We're going to talk about this a little bit later with something similar. But why are they doing that? Why make temporary games? That doesn't make any sense to me. If it's popular, just keep it going. There's no need to pull it on March 31st and have it not accessible anymore. If people are playing it and enjoying it and liking it the same way that they're playing and enjoying Tetris 99, then just keep it. Keep it going. Hopefully that's a temporary thing and they decide not to do it. Not to do that March 31st, whatever. But we'll see. The next announcement might be the most interesting of all of the announcements. Not the biggest one, but the most interesting one. It's called Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. Comes out October 16th. And it's Mario Kart on your Switch. But your Switch is controlling an actual physical Mario Kart in your house with a camera on the back of it. And the game that you're playing is showing where the car is driving. So each game starts with you putting 4 gates, numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, somewhere in your house. And then you drive the cart through the gates in numerical order, in the shape that you want the track to be. And then once that's done, you can race it to your heart's content. Just like a Mario Kart game. There'll be power-ups, other drivers, enemies, all that stuff. Very, very cool concept. Like I said on the radio, I don't know if it's going to be done well in my house, for pets and small toys tend to be scattered all over the place at any given moment. But I will say this, Olivia, my daughter, thought it was very, very cool. So maybe we will be bringing that into the house. I don't know. I wouldn't be against it, but at the same time, I'm not sure how much play it would actually get. But it's a very, very neat idea. one of the coolest ideas of what they showed. And I am hoping that it comes out and performs as well as it looked in this video today. And then we moved on to a couple of little things that are happening between now and March 2020. They're going to be adding 2021, excuse me. They're going to be adding Animal Crossing furniture. They're going to be adding furniture, Super Mario themed, into Animal Crossing for your Animal Crossing houses. There's products that you can look at, purchase, clothing with blackmilkclothing.com, shoes by Puma, stuff like that. Just little like toy physical product things. And then we got to the final announcement of the day, and that is Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy in one package on the Switch for the full $60. And my goodness, was I over the moon that this is actually happening. Super Mario All-Stars on the Super Nintendo was a great game. Mario's 1, 2, 3, and the Lost Levels, all with updated Super Nintendo graphics. Very, very cool. This one optimizes these games for the Switch, but they're not fully remade or remastered. Like Super Mario 64 still looks like it did on the 64. It's just optimized for the current console. Same with Mario Sunshine. Same with Mario Galaxy. That is a bit disappointing, I will admit, that they're just basically ports of these games, enhanced ports, and not full-on remakes or remasters. But the fact that they'll be playable on Switch is all right by me. These are some of the best games ever made, not just Mario games ever made, period. Sunshine tends to not fall in that category, but I have a special place in my heart for it, so I am excited to play it. However, it's a very cool little package coming out in 2 weeks from September 18th, digitally and physically, but again, only available until March 31st. If you wanted to say that the physical versions were only available till March 31st and it would be all digital after that, fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it sounds like the game will just stop being sold and it will be vaulted as the Disney movies are on March 31st. And I ask you, why? Why would you do that when you have a digital eShop now where games can live on forever? A game like this screams, especially with that March 31st date, screams to me, we need to make up some losses for the end of our fiscal year, and we're only putting this game out to serve that purpose, and then get out. Never mind the fact that Nintendo was just named the most valuable company in Japan, or the most successful company in Japan recently. Never mind that. Clearly they're doing something right. But it just seems like this game is here to save Nintendo's 2020 outlook. And I really hope they reconsider that March 31st deadline, unless they put the ports out separately for $20 each. If you want to put the ports out separately or for 20 or even 25, you can say 60 in bulk or 25 separately, whatever, fine. At least they'll still be available to the people who didn't adopt yet. There aren't many of those. The Switch is selling like crazy. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate just hit 20 million copies sold by itself recently. But to take away the ability to buy these ports from people who just haven't gotten the console yet is silly to me. And I hope that they reconsider that or they have a plan to get around that, whether releasing it separately or whatever. But regardless, 3D All-Stars is cool. I want to be excited for it. I have those thoughts in the back of my head, but I do want to be excited for this game. And I think it'll be a very, very cool package. And it was a very, like I said, much appreciated way to get through a Thursday with a great announcement like that from Nintendo, who, like the consoles we spoke about earlier, has been relatively quiet about their holiday season. But now we're starting to see some things come into fruition. The November window specifically is still very empty for them. We don't know if anything's coming at all, but I'm hoping maybe this is the start of a couple of other announcements and the ball starts rolling and we start getting the information that we want. With that, that is the end of episode 12 of the Cheesesteaks and Controllers podcast. My name is Jason Fanelli, and I am the Esports and Gaming Insider for Fox PHL The Gambler, 102.5 FM, 1480 AM Philadelphia, and streamable at foxphlgambler.com and iHeartRadio. I hope you enjoyed listening to this, whether it be in podcast form or on the radio. Every Saturday at 4 o'clock, this podcast gets aired live on the station. If you have any questions or comments about this or anything I talked about tonight or anything in the world of gaming, at Big Man Fanelli on Twitter is the best place to get at me. Shoot me a DM, shoot me a reply, tell me I'm a dum-dum. I'll take it all. Whatever you want to do, I will listen to it. And the next couple weeks, we're going to be talking about a nice charity event that's coming up in November that I could really use your help with, called Extra Life. Money goes to CHOP, and I will be gaming for 24 hours straight on November 7th to raise money for CHOP, but we'll talk about more details on that in next week's speed run, let's say. Next week we'll talk about that. But in the meantime, thank you for your support and your listening. If you're on the radio, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you learned something today, and if not, I hope it piqued your interest in some video games. Until next week, see you later.